Why would a person have so few friends? The deeper meaning behind isolation and trust in Zen philosophy. Is it possible that a lack of friends reveals something deep within a person's soul? Could the absence of companionship be more than mere chance and hint at a truth that others sense but cannot fully articulate? These questions have been asked for ages by those who observe that certain individuals, though they may seem polite or agreeable, remain isolated, with no close bonds or friendships. Zen philosophy, rooted in understanding human nature and the subtle vibrations between people, often sheds light on this enigma. Zen teachings encourage us to look beyond surface appearances and consider why people hold each other at arm's length. A Zen master once said, "People are mirrors. What they do reflects what they feel." This concept is foundational, for it tells us that actions, both of approach and withdrawal, reveal the truth hidden behind the mask. Those who are left alone by many may carry within themselves attributes that repel trust or intimacy, either unknowingly or as a result of choices they've made. In the spirit of this understanding, let us journey through a story that illustrates the complex reasons why some remain friendless and untrusted, even if they seem outwardly kind or gentle. The Man with a Lone Path. In a small, serene town surrounded by misty mountains, there was a man who walked alone. To those who saw him from afar, he appeared calm, dressed modestly, and often greeted others with a polite nod. But over time, people noticed that he had no friends. He attended gatherings, visited markets, and walked the town paths like everyone else, yet no one grew close to him. He remained a mystery. Curious about this, a young traveler who recently arrived in the town asked an elder, "Why is it that this man has no friends? He seems kind enough. Is it his appearance, his words, or something hidden within?" The elder, wise and observant, replied, "There are reasons beyond what meets the eye. The path of friendship requires trust, an invisible thread binding people. When that thread is thin or worn, bonds cannot form. For some, that thread never truly exists." The young traveler became intrigued and decided to discover the reasons behind the man's isolation. Over many days, he observed the man closely, noting his interactions, his reactions, and the energy he carried with him. Gradually, he began to see the reasons why others avoided deep connection with him. A glimpse of pride, an aura that alienates. One day, the traveler noticed the man sharing stories with a group of townspeople. The man's words flowed eloquently, but his tone carried an undercurrent of pride. He spoke not to engage or listen, but to impress. He did not seek mutual understanding but to assert himself as wiser, more insightful, and knowledgeable. As the man's stories continued, a few townspeople slowly edged away, leaving a polite distance between themselves and the storyteller. They had no desire to remain in the presence of someone who sought admiration rather than companionship. The man, however, seemed unaware. His pride made him oblivious to the small signs of withdrawal around him. As he assumed that his knowledge would draw them closer, in Zen, pride is a wall that separates hearts, the traveler thought, recalling an old teaching. He realized that the man's pride, masked as confidence, eroded the potential for trust. Those who seek admiration over mutual respect seldom receive true companionship. People sensed this and withdrew, preferring not to build ties with one who saw himself above others. Fear of vulnerability, guarded walls. In another instance, the traveler observed the man listening to someone who shared a personal story. As the person spoke, expressing their troubles and seeking solace, the man grew tense, his eyes scanning the room as if searching for an escape. He responded with polite words but never truly engaged, brushing off the topic or offering cold, calculated advice without empathy. The traveler understood another piece of the puzzle: the man's fear of vulnerability. Friendship is woven from shared openness and vulnerability, a willingness to reveal one's self, flaws and all. Yet, this man had no desire to reveal himself in such a manner, nor to engage in the vulnerability of others. He kept his emotions sealed, guarded tightly as if to avoid any perceived weakness. In Zen, vulnerability is not weakness, but courage, the traveler reflected. Without vulnerability, there is no true connection, for it is in these moments of openness that trust is built. People sensed the man's unwillingness to connect on a deeper level, and thus they kept their distance, unwilling to invest in a one-sided relationship. Judgment as armor, a critical heart. As time went on, the traveler noticed another tendency in the man. He often criticized others, pointing out flaws, shortcomings, or errors in their actions and choices. Whether at a market stall, a gathering, or even during casual greetings, the man seemed compelled to evaluate and judge those around him, either openly or with subtle remarks. Criticism is a shield, an armor that reflects insecurity, the traveler remembered from his studies in Zen. Those who fear rejection often judge others harshly to protect themselves. But judgment, like a barbed fence, keeps others out. Friendships cannot grow in a space where people feel the sting of constant criticism. They shy away, feeling unworthy or uncomfortable, sensing they are always being measured. The traveler recognized that the man's judgmental nature pushed others away. People gravitated toward those who offered acceptance, not scrutiny. They longed for connection without the fear of judgment, and so they avoided the man, leaving him to walk alone. The insatiable desire for control. One morning, the traveler observed the man interacting with a craftsman in the market. The man watched intently as the craftsman worked, offering constant advice on how he should shape his wares, adjust his tools, or change his methods. Though the craftsman attempted to ignore the intrusions, the man continued, as though his need to control the outcome of another's work was irresistible. Control is the opposite of trust, the traveler recalled. Zen teaches that to build trust, one must let go of the need to control others, accepting them as they are. But this man's insatiable desire for control strained relationships before they even began. Friendships thrive in freedom, where each person respects the boundaries of the other. In his need for control, the man unknowingly restricted others' sense of freedom, causing them to pull away. People sensed his controlling tendencies, his inability to simply be in harmony with others. They felt suffocated, and thus they created distance, reluctant to form a bond that felt more like a chain. The absence of gratitude. In his continued observations, the traveler noticed one last, crucial detail: the man rarely expressed gratitude. When receiving help, he would accept it silently, never acknowledging the effort of others or expressing appreciation. His demeanor suggested an air of entitlement, as if kindness and assistance were his due rather than gifts freely given. Gratitude is the cornerstone of friendships, a form of mutual recognition that binds people with appreciation and humility. In Zen, gratitude reflects harmony with the universe, a willingness to honor what is given and acknowledge the value others bring. The absence of gratitude, however, leaves an emptiness, a hollowness that people instinctively avoid. The traveler understood that without gratitude, trust could not blossom. Others sensed this, perceiving the man as indifferent to their efforts or kindness, and thus chose not to invest further. Why extend oneself for someone who does not recognize the beauty of giving? After weeks of careful observation, the traveler felt he had gathered enough insights to answer his question. He approached the wise elder once more and shared what he had learned: pride, guardedness, judgment, control, and the lack of gratitude. Each of these traits, subtle yet powerful, had woven an invisible barrier around the man, preventing others from connecting with him on a deeper level. The elder nodded, reflecting on the traveler's insights. You have learned well. These qualities may seem minor on their own, but together they create a loneliness deeper than isolation. People may sense these traits without fully understanding them, but their hearts know what their minds do not. They feel the absence of trust, and thus they keep their distance. The traveler bowed, understanding that this knowledge was a teaching, not only about others but about himself. He realized that to cultivate friendships, he must nurture within himself the qualities he sought in others: humility, vulnerability, acceptance, freedom, and gratitude. And as he left the town, he carried with him the lesson that isolation is seldom a mere accident. It often reflects an inner world that others instinctively choose to avoid. Reflection, the path to true connection. The story of the man is a mirror for all who seek connection yet find themselves isolated. It is a reminder that true friendship, like all things, requires careful cultivation, the openness of spirit, and the wisdom to let others in. When trust is absent within, it is felt outwardly, and no mask or polite demeanor can hide it. To walk the path of friendship is to walk the path of trust, a journey where the heart must be willing to open, free of pride, judgment, and fear. In Zen, friendship is not about companionship alone but about harmony. Only by fostering this inner harmony can one create an outer bond that reflects it. Thus, the lesson of the lone man serves as a guide for all who walk the path of connection, reminding us that the most meaningful bonds are built on trust, vulnerability, and a grateful heart. Thanks for watching. Hope enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Just click the subscribe button below and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Also, feel free to leave a comment and let me know what you'd like to see next. See you in the next video. A traveler once asked an old master, "How can I tell if those who walk beside me are true companions or only shadows waiting to disappear?" The master smiled and replied, "When the storm rises, observe who holds the umbrella and who vanishes into the mist." Friendship, like water, takes the shape of its container. Some are like clear springs, pure, refreshing, and nourishing. Others are like mirages in the desert, appearing full of promise but vanishing when you reach for them. Many people will approach you with warm smiles, kind words, and gestures of loyalty, but when difficulties arise, their true nature is revealed. In Zen and Buddhist philosophy, the nature of relationships is understood through the law of impermanence and the mirror of karma. What we attract and who stays with us are reflections of our inner state. A genuine friend walks with you not because of what you have but because of who you are. A false friend stays only as long as your light benefits them, disappearing the moment their desires are no longer met. Before you learn to distinguish the genuine from the fake, you must first understand the signs that reveal truth. True friendship is not based on attachment but on harmony. It does not seek to gain but to give. It does not change with circumstances but remains steady, like the mountain against the wind. Now, let us begin a story of a seeker who learned to recognize the difference between true and false friends through the trials of life. The story of the seeker and his many companions. There was once a seeker who set out on a long journey through mountains, rivers, and forests in search of wisdom. He had only a small bag and a heart full of hope. Along the way, he met many people, some who walked with him for a while, some who promised him friendship, and some who offered him shelter. At first, the seeker trusted everyone he met. He welcomed them with an open heart, believing that those who smiled at him were his friends. But as time passed, he began to see the truth hidden beneath their words and actions. 1. The friend who came for gain. One evening, the seeker met a man who was well-dressed, charming, and full of praise. "You are wise and strong," the man said. "Walking with you would be a great honor. Let us be friends." The seeker was pleased. He had longed for companionship, and this man seemed sincere. They walked together for many days, and the man always spoke kindly. However, the seeker noticed something peculiar: the man never spoke about the journey itself. He only spoke of the places where they could find wealth, shelter, and luxury. One day, the seeker fell ill. His body was weak, and he could no longer walk as quickly. The man, who had promised friendship, frowned and said, "You are slowing me down. I must go ahead. Perhaps I will meet you later." And just like that, he disappeared. A friend who stays only when you can provide something useful is not a friend but a traitor. Genuine friendship is not a transaction, it is a bond that remains even when there is nothing to gain. If someone befriends you only because they benefit from you, they will leave the moment you are no longer of use. 2. The friend who spoke sweetly but acted bitterly. Later, the seeker met another traveler. This one was full of laughter and stories, always speaking words of encouragement. The seeker was grateful for the warmth of his company. However, as time passed, the seeker noticed a strange pattern. When they were alone, the traveler was kind and supportive, but in the presence of others, he would mock the seeker, belittle his thoughts, and laugh at his struggles. One day, the seeker confronted him, saying, "You speak to me as a friend, but your actions betray your words. Why do you mock me when others are around?" The traveler laughed and said, "Do not take it seriously. It is only words. Do we not joke with those we care about?" The seeker realized then that words are empty when not supported by action. He bowed to the traveler and continued his journey alone. A true friend will never harm you in speech or action, even in jest. Beware of those who praise you in private but mock you in public. Friendship is not about words, it is about consistency in action. 3. The friend who stayed in good times but vanished in hardship. As the seeker continued his journey, he met a group of travelers who welcomed him with open arms. They shared food, told stories, and promised eternal friendship. The seeker felt at home. However, one day, a great storm arose. The river flooded, the food ran out, and the path became dangerous. The seeker turned to his companions for support, but one by one, they found excuses to leave. Only one remained. This friend, though tired and hungry, did not abandon the seeker. He shared what little he had and walked beside him through the storm. When the sky cleared, the seeker looked at the man and said, "You are the only one who stayed." The man smiled and said, "Friendship is not proven in ease but in struggle. Fake friends will celebrate with you in times of plenty but disappear in times of difficulty. True friendship is tested in hardship. Observe who stays when all others leave." 4. The friend who encouraged growth. Finally, the seeker met a wise old traveler who spoke little but listened deeply. Unlike others, this friend did not flatter or make promises. Instead, he asked the seeker questions that made him think. One day, as they sat under a tree, the seeker asked, "Why do you not praise me like others do?" The old traveler replied, "I do not wish to blind you with comfort." A true friend does not tell you what you want to hear but what you need to know. Over time, the seeker realized that this friend was the most valuable of all. He did not seek personal gain, nor did he disappear in hardship. Instead, he guided the seeker toward wisdom. A true friend is not one who only makes you feel good but one who helps you grow. If someone always agrees with you and never challenges you, they may not be a true friend but merely someone avoiding conflict. True friendship is about honesty and growth. The inner mirror of friendship. Friendship is not just about the people who come into our lives, it is also about who we are. A wise person once said, "The company you keep is a reflection of the mind you cultivate." If you constantly find yourself surrounded by people who betray, abandon, or take advantage of you, it is not simply because the world is full of untrustworthy people. It is because there is something within you that either attracts them or fails to recognize them early enough. 1. Why do we attract the wrong people? There are many reasons why we attract false friendships. And most of them lie within our own perceptions, desires, and fears, seeking validation. If you constantly need approval, you will attract those who flatter you but leave when the praise is no longer needed. Fear of being alone. If you are afraid of solitude, you may accept any companionship, even if it is shallow and harmful. Giving without discernment. Generosity is a noble quality, but without wisdom, it attracts those who take but do not give. Ignoring red flags. Many times, we see warning signs, but we choose to ignore them out of hope or attachment. If we want to change the kind of friendships we attract, we must first change ourselves. 2. The law of impermanence in relationships. In Buddhist philosophy, everything is impermanent, including friendships. Just as the seasons change, so do the people in our lives. Some friends are like spring, bringing warmth, new beginnings, and joy. Others are like autumn, teaching us about letting go. And some are like winter, cold, harsh, but revealing the truth about who truly stays. We suffer when we expect friendships to be eternal. Instead, we should recognize that every person comes into our lives for a reason. Some teach us joy, some teach us pain, and some teach us wisdom. When a friendship ends, ask yourself, was this person here to teach me something? Did I learn what I needed to? If so, let go without resentment. Not every ending is a loss, some are blessings in disguise. 3. The 3 tests of true friendship. If you want to know whether someone is a genuine friend, observe them in 3 situations. When you have nothing to offer, see who remains when you cannot provide benefit or entertainment. When you are in difficulty, see who helps, who disappears, and who takes advantage of your struggle. When you succeed, see who celebrates your success with sincerity and who secretly resents you. A person who passes these 3 tests is a rare and true friend. 4. How to cultivate true friendships. To attract genuine friends, you must become the kind of person who embodies true friendship. Be the friend you seek. If you want honesty, be honest. If you want loyalty, be loyal. If you want wisdom, cultivate wisdom. Let go of attachments. Do not cling to those who show they are not meant to stay. Letting go creates space for better people to enter your life. Value depth over quantity. A single true friend is worth more than 100 false ones. Do not chase numbers, seek meaning, develop inner peace. When you are at peace with yourself, you will attract people who are also at peace, not those who seek to fill their own voids through you. The empty cup and the true friend. A Zen master once said, "If your cup is already full, you will not recognize fresh water." In the same way, if your life is full of false friendships, you will have no room for true ones. Empty your cup. Let go of illusions. Be patient. The right people will come, not because you chase them, but because your heart is ready to receive them. True friendship is like the lotus flower. It does not grow in perfect conditions but rises through the mud, untouched and pure. Cultivate your own lotus, and those who are meant to walk with you will appear, not as shadows in the mist, but as companions on the path to truth. Thanks for watching. Hope enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Just click the subscribe button below and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Also, feel free to leave a comment and let me know what you'd like to see next. See you in the next video. Why do people disrespect others? This question has echoed through human hearts and minds for millennia. Often, we find ourselves puzzled as to why certain individuals seem to be disrespected, excluded, or misunderstood by others. Gautama Buddha, in his teachings, emphasized the importance of self-awareness and mindful living as a means of fostering respect from others. He once said, "As a solid rock is not shaken by the wind, even so the wise are not affected by praise or blame." Yet, many people unknowingly engage in behaviors that repel others, behaviors that undermine their value and create distances where there could be connection. This story delves into 4 specific habits, ones that are so deeply rooted in our day-to-day lives that we may not even realize their presence, habits that, according to Zen and Buddhist teachings, can silently erode respect. In a quiet monastery nestled among the trees, a wise teacher had 4 young disciples. Each had come to seek peace, enlightenment, and the wisdom of Zen, but despite their common goal, each one struggled with a particular vice. The teacher had noticed the subtleties in their interactions, and the disharmony that these behaviors brought not only to their lives but to the lives of those around them. One evening, as the sun began to set, the teacher gathered his disciples around him, knowing that the time had come to confront the issue that weighed upon their souls. He began with a question: "What do you think are the habits that cause people to lose respect from others?" The teacher's voice was calm. Yet his words hung in the air like a heavy cloud. The disciples were silent for a moment. Then, one by one, they offered their thoughts. Greed, one suggested; anger, said another; lying, a third said. While these were valid insights, the teacher knew that there was more. He saw beyond the obvious, recognizing subtler habits that, though less visible, were equally destructive. While all of these can contribute to loss of respect, the teacher replied, there are 4 habits, disgusting habits, that, if left unchecked, will ensure that people turn away from you, not because they hate you, but because your actions repel them. The disciples leaned in closer, their eyes fixed on the teacher, awaiting his wisdom. Habit 1, the poison of complaining. The first disciple, a quiet yet restless young man, was known to often grumble about the tasks he was given. Whether it was cleaning the temple floor or preparing meals, his complaints were endless. Even when others offered to help, he found something to be dissatisfied with. The teacher looked directly at him. Complaining, he began, is like throwing stones into a pond, creating ripples that disturb the calmness of the water. Each word of discontent spreads negativity around you, creating an invisible wall that pushes others away. The young man looked down, ashamed, but the teacher continued, his tone gentle yet firm. do you think people enjoy being around someone who constantly finds fault in everything? Complaining shows a lack of gratitude. It blinds you to the beauty in your daily life and convinces others that you are ungrateful. People begin to disrespect you, not because of your flaws, but because you never stop speaking of them. The teacher paused, letting the words sink in. Gratitude is the antidote, he added. When you practice appreciation for even the smallest things, you create harmony within yourself. And where there is harmony, respect will follow. The young disciple nodded slowly. He could see now how his complaining had pushed people away, how it had sown discord in his relationships. Habit 2, gossip, the venomous tongue. The second disciple had another vice, one that was subtler, yet equally destructive: gossip. She would often whisper about others, discussing their shortcomings and flaws with anyone who would listen. What she did not realize, however, was the toll it was taking on her own reputation. The teacher turned his gaze toward her and spoke softly. Gossip is a venomous act. Each time you speak ill of someone, you poison not just their name, but your own soul. You may believe that by exposing the flaws of others, you raise yourself higher, but in truth, you are sinking deeper into the mire of disrespect. The disciple's face flushed with embarrassment as she recognized the truth in his words. She had thought that her clever observations of others made her more insightful, perhaps even wiser. But the teacher was showing her a different reality. When you speak ill of others behind their back, you are not just harming them, you are harming yourself. People lose trust in you, knowing that if you can speak ill of one person, you can speak ill of anyone, including them. Soon, they distance themselves from you, not out of fear, but out of a lack of respect. The disciple was silent. She had never realized the depth of harm her words could cause. Instead of gossiping, the teacher said, "Speak words of kindness. Build others up, and you will find that respect flows naturally toward you." In silence, there is wisdom, and in wisdom, there is respect. Habit 3, arrogance, the hollow pride. The third disciple was perhaps the most knowledgeable of the group, but with that knowledge came a sense of superiority. He often looked down on others, believing that his understanding of the teachings made him better than his fellow students. The teacher's gaze fell upon him next. Arrogance, he said, is the surest path to losing the respect of others. When you place yourself above others, you are like a tree with shallow roots. You may stand tall for a time, but the first strong wind will topple you. True strength, true respect, comes from humility. The disciple frowned. He had always thought that his intelligence and knowledge would earn him respect. But the teacher's words were forcing him to reconsider. Knowledge is a valuable tool, the teacher continued, but when it is wielded with arrogance, it becomes a weapon that cuts both ways. People will resent you for it. They will see through the facade of superiority and realize that it is hollow. The disciple looked away, his mind racing. He had believed that his wisdom set him apart, but now he saw how it had alienated him from those around him. The key to gaining respect is not to stand above others, but to walk beside them, the teacher said. Humility allows you to connect with people on a deeper level, and when you are humble, people will respect you not just for what you know, but for who you are. Habit 4, inconsistency, the shifting wind. The fourth disciple was known for his lack of commitment. He would start one task with great enthusiasm, only to abandon it halfway through when something more interesting caught his attention. His fellow students had long stopped relying on him, knowing that he could not be trusted to follow through. The teacher turned to him last. Inconsistency, he said, is like a shifting wind. People never know where you stand or where you are going. When you are unreliable, people cannot place their trust in you, and without trust, there can be no respect. The disciple's eyes widened. He had always prided himself on his creativity and willingness to explore new ideas. But he now saw how his lack of follow-through had led others to see him as undependable. To earn respect, the teacher said, you must be steadfast. Your words and actions must align. When you commit to something, see it through. People respect those who are reliable, those who can be counted on in both good times and bad. The disciple nodded, realizing how his inconsistency had cost him the trust and respect of his peers. The teacher rose from his seat and walked slowly among his disciples, his hands clasped behind his back. These 4 habits, complaining, gossiping, arrogance, and inconsistency, are like stones in your path. If you do not remove them, they will cause you to stumble. But the good news is this: they can be unlearned. He looked at each of them in turn, his eyes filled with compassion. Change begins with awareness, he said. Now that you see these habits for what they are, you have the power to choose a different path. Each moment is an opportunity to practice gratitude, kindness, humility, and commitment. And when you do, respect will come to you naturally. You will not need to seek it, for it will flow to you like a river drawn to the sea. The disciples were quiet, each lost in their thoughts. They could see now how their habits had distanced them from others, and how by changing their ways, they could regain the respect they had lost. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the teacher spoke one last time. Remember, he said, respect is not something you demand. It is something you earn, through your actions, your words, and your heart. And with that, the lesson was over. The disciples bowed to their teacher, filled with a new sense of purpose. They knew the road ahead would not be easy, but they also knew that they had the power to walk it with mindfulness and integrity. And in doing so, they would find the respect they had been seeking, not just from others, but from themselves as well. In this tale, the teacher revealed 4 habits that make people lose respect: complaining, gossiping, arrogance, and inconsistency. Each habit, in its own way, pushes people away and creates barriers to genuine connection. But the story also reminds us that change is always possible. Through self-awareness, mindfulness, and dedication, we can shed these destructive habits and cultivate qualities that naturally draw respect and trust from others. The path of Zen and Buddhist teachings emphasizes not perfection but progress, a journey toward a more harmonious life. One where our actions, words, and intentions align with the wisdom of humility, kindness, and consistency. In this way, respect is not only earned but deeply rooted in the core of who we are. Thanks for watching. Hope enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Just click the subscribe button below and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Also, feel free to leave a comment and let me know what you'd like to see next. See you in the next video. There was once a humble, wise monk who lived high up in a remote mountain temple. The temple stood amidst the clouds, surrounded by ancient trees, whispering winds, and a serene stillness that only the deepest layers of nature could offer. The monk had no desires for wealth, fame, or recognition. His only companions were the birds, the rustling leaves, and the trickling streams. He lived in peace, away from the bustling world below. One day, a young traveler, burdened by the weight of life, climbed the mountain in search of answers. The traveler had heard of the wise monk's profound wisdom and believed that the monk held the keys to happiness. With a heart heavy with troubles, the traveler reached the temple and humbly knelt before the monk. "Master," the traveler began, "I have come seeking wisdom. My life is filled with strife, and I find myself constantly plagued by envy, resentment, and confusion. I have shared my thoughts, dreams, and struggles with many people, but I always feel more lost. Can you teach me the way to peace?" The monk studied the young traveler's face for a moment. His eyes were clear, but there was a deep compassion in them. Without saying a word, the monk rose and gestured for the traveler to follow. Together, they walked through a quiet forest path that led deeper into the heart of the mountain. The monk stopped at a large stone by a calm, crystal-clear pond. He sat down and beckoned the traveler to sit across from him. "There are 3 sacred stones," the monk said softly, "that every human being must carry within them, but they must never reveal. These stones represent the 3 things that must remain private at all costs." The traveler looked puzzled but nodded, eager to learn. "The first sacred stone, your deepest desires," the monk began, "the first sacred stone is your deepest desires. These are the longings that live in the core of your heart, the things you wish for most in life, be it love, success, peace, or enlightenment. To share these desires too openly is to invite the world's expectations, judgments, and influences into your soul. The purity of your desires can become tainted when exposed to the eyes of others." The traveler listened closely, but doubt clouded his mind. "But Master," he asked, "why should I not share my desires? Surely, seeking advice from others can help me achieve them." The monk smiled and reached into the pond, picking up a handful of water. "When you share your deepest desires with others," he said, "it is like holding water in your hand. The more you try to grasp it, the more it slips away. Others will project their fears, doubts, and biases onto your desires. Some will question them, others will ridicule them, and some may even seek to take them from you. By revealing your desires, you make them vulnerable." The monk let the water slip through his fingers, watching it ripple back into the pond. "Keep your desires close, like seeds planted in the soil. Nurture them in silence. Let them grow in the dark, unseen by others. When the time comes, they will bloom in ways you could never have imagined. Protecting your desires from the external world preserves their power and purity." The traveler, feeling the weight of the monk's words, nodded. He had often shared his dreams with others, only to be met with skepticism or unhelpful advice. Now, he understood the importance of keeping his desires sacred. "The second sacred stone, your personal struggles," after a moment of reflection, the monk continued, "the second sacred stone is your personal struggles. Every human being carries burdens, wounds from the past, mistakes, failures, and fears. These struggles shape who we are, but they are not meant to be paraded in front of others. To reveal them too openly is to risk misunderstanding, pity, or exploitation." The traveler furrowed his brow. "But isn't it important to share my struggles? Don't I need support from others to overcome them?" The monk picked up a smooth stone from the ground and held it out for the traveler to see. "Imagine this stone is one of your struggles," the monk said. "Now imagine that you give it to someone else to carry. You are asking them to take on your burden, but they cannot truly understand its weight. They may offer sympathy or advice, but they do not know the depth of your experience. Worse still, some may use your struggles against you, manipulating your vulnerabilities for their own gain. The monk then placed the stone gently back on the ground. Your struggles are like this stone, he explained. They are yours to carry, to learn from, and to overcome. While it is natural to seek support from loved ones, you must be mindful of how much you reveal. There is strength in silence. When you face your struggles privately, you build resilience. You learn to rely on your inner strength, rather than the opinions or judgments of others. The traveler felt a pang of recognition. He had often shared his hardships with friends, only to feel judged or misunderstood. Now, he saw the value in keeping his struggles private, facing them with quiet determination rather than seeking validation from others. The third sacred stone, your acts of kindness. The monk's eyes softened as he spoke of the third and final sacred stone. The third sacred stone, he said, is your acts of kindness. In life, we are often tempted to broadcast our good deeds, seeking praise or recognition. But true kindness is a sacred act that requires no audience. To reveal your acts of kindness is to tarnish their purity. The traveler frowned. But Master, he said, isn't it important to inspire others by sharing our good deeds? Doesn't it motivate people to do the same? The monk stood up and walked to a nearby tree. He gently brushed his hand against the rough bark and said, "This tree provides shade and shelter without asking for anything in return. It does not announce its kindness to the world, nor does it seek gratitude. It simply gives, silently and selflessly." He turned back to the traveler and continued, "When you perform an act of kindness, do it for the sake of the act itself, not for recognition or praise. The moment you seek validation, the kindness loses its purity. It becomes a transaction, a way to gain something, whether it be approval or admiration." The monk knelt down by the tree and picked up a small leaf that had fallen to the ground. "True kindness is like this leaf," he said. "It falls quietly, unnoticed by the world, but its impact is felt in the soil below. Your acts of kindness should nourish the world in silence, expecting nothing in return. In this way, they remain pure and powerful." The traveler was humbled by the monk's words. He realized that many of his past acts of kindness had been motivated by a desire for recognition. Now, he understood that the greatest kindnesses are those done in secret, with no expectation of reward. The lesson of the three sacred stones. As the sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the mountain, the monk stood and faced the traveler. These three sacred stones, your deepest desires, your personal struggles, and your acts of kindness, are the foundation of your inner self. They must remain private, for they are the most vulnerable parts of your soul. To reveal them to the world is to invite interference, judgment, and misunderstanding. The traveler, now filled with a deep sense of clarity, bowed respectfully to the monk. "Thank you, Master," he said. "I understand now. I will carry these stones with me, and I will guard them with the silence and care they deserve." The monk smiled gently. "Remember," he said, "the world is loud and full of distractions. It will tempt you to reveal your sacred stones, to seek validation, to compare yourself to others. But true peace comes from within, from the quiet strength of your own heart. Keep your stones safe, and you will find that life flows with a natural ease." The traveler stood, feeling lighter than he had in years. He thanked the monk once more and began his descent down the mountain. As he walked, he reflected on the wisdom he had received, vowing to keep his desires, struggles, and kindnesses private, as sacred stones that would guide him on his path. And so, the traveler journeyed on, his heart filled with the quiet power of Zen and Buddhist teachings. Knowing that the true strength of life lies in the things we keep hidden from the world, the things that remain sacred and untouched, deep within. As the years passed, the traveler found a new sense of peace and purpose in his life. He no longer felt the need to share his deepest desires with others, realizing that they were meant to grow in the fertile soil of his own heart. His personal struggles became opportunities for inner growth, and he learned to face them with quiet courage, without seeking pity or sympathy from others. His acts of kindness became silent gifts to the world, given freely and without expectation of recognition. The traveler's life transformed in ways he had never imagined. By keeping his sacred stones private, he discovered a wellspring of inner strength and wisdom. He no longer sought validation from the outside world, for he had found everything he needed within, and so, the traveler lived a life of quiet fulfillment, guided by the 3 sacred stones he had learned to cherish. His desires remained pure, his struggles became sources of strength, and his kindnesses flowed like a gentle stream, nourishing the world in silence. In the end, the traveler realized that the true path to happiness and peace lay not in revealing everything to the world, but in guarding the most sacred stones in life. Thanks for watching. Hope enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Just click the subscribe button below and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Also, feel free to leave a comment and let me know what you'd like to see next. See you in the next video. In a small village nestled at the base of a great mountain, there lived a young man named Hiroshi. Dissatisfied with the monotony of his daily life and yearning for a deeper meaning, Hiroshi often found himself staring at the distant peaks, wondering what wisdom they might hold. Stories have been passed down about a Zen master who resided in a monastery atop the mountain, a master known for guiding seekers to enlightenment through simple, transformative practices. One day, Hiroshi decided he could no longer ignore his calling. With a small bag of essentials and a heart full of questions, he set out on the arduous journey to the mountain monastery. The path was steep and treacherous, but Hiroshi's determination propelled him forward. After several days of climbing, he reached the monastery, a serene place shrouded in mist and surrounded by ancient trees. There, he met the Zen master, a wise and gentle man named Master Ryokan. Bowing deeply, Hiroshi expressed his desire for enlightenment and asked if he could become a disciple. Master Ryokan smiled warmly and said, "Enlightenment is not a destination but a journey. If you wish to transform your life, you must cultivate 7 small habits. These habits, though simple, will lead you to profound changes." Hiroshi eagerly agreed, and thus began his journey with the first habit. Habit 1: Mindful breathing. The first habit Master Ryokan taught Hiroshi was mindful breathing. "Breathing is life," the master said. "To be aware of your breath is to be aware of the present moment. Start each day with 10 minutes of mindful breathing. Inhale deeply, hold for a moment, and then exhale slowly." At first, Hiroshi found it difficult to focus solely on his breath. His mind wandered to thoughts of the village, his family, and the future. But with persistence, he began to notice a shift. The simple act of focusing on his breath brought a sense of calm and clarity. He felt more grounded and less anxious about the uncertainties of life. Master Ryokan explained, "When you control your breath, you control your mind." Mindful breathing anchors you in the present, helping you to respond to life's challenges with composure. With time, mindful breathing became a cornerstone of Hiroshi's day, providing a peaceful start and end to his daily activities. Habit 2. Gratitude practice. The second habit was gratitude. Master Ryokan instructed Hiroshi to write down 3 things he was grateful for every evening before bed. Gratitude shifts your focus from what you lack to what you have, he said. It opens your heart to joy and abundance. Initially, Hiroshi struggled to find 3 things to be grateful for. His mind was conditioned to dwell on problems and shortcomings. But as he persisted, he found himself noticing the beauty in everyday moments, the warmth of the sun, the taste of his meals, the kindness of others. This practice of gratitude transformed Hiroshi's outlook. He began to see life as a gift, filled with opportunities and blessings. He felt happier and more content, regardless of external circumstances. Gratitude is the foundation of happiness, Master Ryokan told him. When you are thankful, you invite more positivity into your life. Habit 3. Physical exercise. The third habit was physical exercise. A healthy body is essential for a healthy mind, the master advised. Dedicate time each day to move your body, whether through walking, stretching, or more vigorous activity. Hiroshi took up a daily routine of yoga and hiking. At first, his muscles ached and his stamina was low, but gradually, he noticed improvements in his strength and energy levels. The physical exertion also cleared his mind, making him more focused and alert. Master Ryokan emphasized, exercise not only strengthens your body but also releases stress and enhances your mental well-being. It connects you with the physical world and reminds you of your own vitality. As Hiroshi's body grew stronger, so did his spirit. He found joy in movement and appreciated the harmony between his mind and body. Habit 4. Mindful eating. The fourth habit was mindful eating. Master Ryokan taught Hiroshi to approach each meal with reverence and attention. Eat slowly, savor each bite, and be fully present, he instructed. This practice cultivates gratitude and awareness of the nourishment you receive. Hiroshi began to eat his meals in silence, focusing on the flavors, textures, and aromas. He noticed how different foods made him feel and became more attuned to his body's needs. This mindful approach also led him to make healthier food choices, respecting his body's desire for nourishment. Mindful eating fosters a deep connection with your body in the food you consume, Master Ryokan explained. It transforms eating into a sacred ritual, promoting both physical health and spiritual awareness. As Hiroshi embraced mindful eating, he found himself more appreciative of the effort that went into preparing his food and more connected to the natural world that provided it. Habit 5. Meditation. The fifth habit was meditation. Meditation is the practice of sitting in stillness and observing the mind, Master Ryokan said. It cultivates inner peace and insight. Every morning, Hiroshi would sit in the meditation hall, legs crossed, back straight, focusing on his breath. At first, his mind raced with thoughts and distractions, but with consistent practice, he began to experience moments of profound stillness and clarity. Through meditation, Hiroshi learned to observe his thoughts without attachment, letting them pass like clouds in the sky. This practice helped him to detach from negative emotions and develop a deeper understanding of himself. Meditation is the gateway to your inner self. The Master told him, "It allows you to see the true nature of your mind and cultivate compassion, patience, and wisdom." Hiroshi's daily meditation practice became a sanctuary of peace, grounding him in the present and guiding him on his spiritual journey. Habit 6. Acts of Kindness. The sixth habit was performing acts of kindness. Kindness is the expression of our interconnectedness, Master Ryokan said. Every day, perform at least one act of kindness without expecting anything in return. Hiroshi began to incorporate small acts of kindness into his daily routine, helping a fellow disciple with chores, offering words of encouragement, or simply sharing a smile. These acts brought joy to others and filled Hiroshi's heart with warmth and fulfillment. Master Ryokan explained, kindness creates ripples of positivity in the world. It opens your heart and strengthens the bonds between you and others. As Hiroshi practiced kindness, he felt a growing sense of connection and compassion towards all beings. He realized that in giving, he also received, experiencing a profound sense of purpose and joy. Habit 7. Evening Reflection. The seventh and final habit was evening reflection. At the end of each day, spend a few minutes reflecting on your actions, thoughts, and feelings, Master Ryokan instructed. This practice fosters self-awareness and growth. Each night, Hiroshi would sit quietly and review his day, acknowledging his successes and mistakes without judgment. He reflected on how he had applied the habits and considered ways to improve. This practice helped him to learn from his experiences and cultivate a sense of continuous growth. Reflection is the mirror of the soul, the Master said. It allows you to see yourself clearly and make conscious choices towards a better self. Through evening reflection, Hiroshi developed greater self-awareness and accountability. He became more mindful of his actions and more committed to his personal growth. As months turned into years, these 7 small habits became deeply ingrained in Hiroshi's daily life. The young man who had once been restless and dissatisfied now radiated peace, joy, and wisdom. He had transformed not through grand gestures but through the consistent practice of simple, mindful habits. One day, Master Ryokan called Hiroshi to his side. "You have walked the path well," he said. "These habits have not only changed your life but have also prepared you to help others on their journey." With a bow of gratitude, Hiroshi understood his new purpose. He returned to his village, not as the same young man who had left, but as a beacon of wisdom and compassion. He began to teach others the 7 habits. Guiding them towards their own paths of transformation, the impact of Hiroshi's teaching spread throughout the village and beyond. People from neighboring villages came to learn the 7 habits, experiencing their own transformations. The village became a place of peace and harmony, with each person contributing to a community rooted in mindfulness, gratitude, health, awareness, kindness, and self-reflection. Years later, Hiroshi returned to the monastery to visit Master Ryokan. The Master, now elderly but still full of wisdom, welcomed him warmly. "You have done well, Hiroshi," he said. "The habits you embraced have created ripples of positive change, far beyond what you could have imagined." Hiroshi smiled, understanding the profound truth in his master's words. The journey of transformation was never-ending, a continuous cycle of learning, growth, and sharing. As he gazed at the distant peaks once more, Hiroshi felt a deep sense of fulfillment. He had discovered that true enlightenment lay not in the distant horizon but in the simple, mindful practices of everyday life, and so, the story of Hiroshi and the 7 Habits became a legacy, passed down through generations, a timeless guide to a life of purpose, peace, and profound change. Thanks for watching. Hope enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Just click the subscribe button below and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Also, feel free to leave a comment and let me know what you'd like to see next. See you in the next video.